This is crazy, right? I mean, this is crazy.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Tim from Well Done Homestead here. Today we are going to talk about another radio aspect, a kind of a grid down communication option, something that I've been working on for a little bit, just trying to research and honestly to try and figure it out for myself. It's called Meshtastic. All right, so you might be asking yourself, what is Meshtastic? Meshtastic is oh boy. Meshtastic is it's a wireless communication system that uses nodes that work in a grid pattern, like a mesh network that network together to communicate with one another without the need for a cell phone tower. You don't need cell connectivity. You don't need, honestly, you don't need Wi-Fi, although they can be run with Wi-Fi. But you can run your phone on airplane mode with no SIM card, no connection to any carrier, any cell carrier whatsoever. In fact, you don't even have to use a cell phone. You could use a tablet, you could use your computer, and use these nodes. And this is the box of the ones that I got. You can use these nodes to communicate, and they intercommunicate with one another, sending a signal on a specific frequency. It goes from one node to the next, to the next, to the next, and you can set it so that they will make a certain number of jumps, and everybody will be able to be communicated with on the network. It is an encrypted system, which is pretty cool, and it's 100% legal. You don't have to worry about the FCC coming and knocking on your door because you have Meshtastic nodes. It's really not that big a deal. They're actually pretty neat. I opted to buy some of these Heltec LoRa 32s. This is the version 3, the V3. There are a number of different kinds of these online. Rockland is a website where you can go and you can actually purchase the T-Beam, which is a different brand of a LoRa communication device. You can get a bunch of different ones. I'm not going to get into the weeds on everything that you can do with these because honestly, I'm still learning and I don't know. But with what I'm planning to do with these are actually a pretty cool little deal. This little packet right here was $25. It came with this little case, which is meh. It's not dust proof, it's not waterproof, it just kind of keeps everything contained. And that's all it is, with a little screen on the front so you can see the screen on the node. But here, we'll open this box up. It comes with a crappy little antenna that I don't recommend you use because it's terrible. Honestly, that antenna is junk. But this is the node itself. You can see it's got a screen. It has a couple of buttons here on this side that you can scroll through the menu. And then it has a USB-C port here. And it also has, right over here, you can see the antenna plug where you would plug in your aftermarket antenna, which I will show in just a moment, the ones that I got. You can see this little coil right here. That little coil is a Wi-Fi antenna, so you can use these via Wi-Fi. I prefer not to, just simply because I am just going to use these with Bluetooth connecting to the devices that I'm using for this communication device. But this little device right here, you go to the Meshtastic website and you plug it into the port there, and you can download the Meshtastic software onto your board here, your node, and it is pretty much ready to go. You put in there what kind you have, and that's it, and you're ready to roll. Once it is downloaded, then it will you know, it'll run the Meshtastic software on here, and then you're ready to roll. So these little guys here come with that little cheap antenna. They also come with these little pin ladder thingies. I have not used these. I know that they are for a specific purpose that I have no idea what it is, to be really honest. But it does fit on the board. Top and bottom has these little ports. There are little holes where you would be able to use those little ladder things. But I don't need them. I don't use them for what I'm using these boards for. On the back here, you can see it does have a plug for your battery. You do get a pigtail for a battery, but I already have mine soldered to a 3,000 milliamp battery pack that is lithium ion that can be recharged via the USB-C port, which is pretty cool. So yeah, so I've got my pigtails soldered onto the end of the wires there for my batteries. So I opted for these batteries. These batteries were like 16 bucks a piece, 15 bucks a piece. And then these little Meshtastic nodes are about $25 each. So all told, between the two, you have under, what is that? Under 40 bucks? No, let's see, 25, it's like just under 50 bucks. So not bad for a little communication device. You do need two of them to communicate with each other. But if you have, let's say, you know, you don't want to go and spend $400 on a ham radio, you can spend a couple $100 on 6 of these nodes. I'm sorry, on 4 of these nodes. Actually, they weren't that expensive. I'm trying to remember how much I spent. I think these batteries were cheaper than that. I can't remember because I only spent about a couple $100 and I got 6 nodes. But I know that the nodes are about $25 a piece. Maybe they were 22. I don't remember. Anyway, but so we're gonna put together a little. I'm working on some prototypes for containers for these so that I don't have to have just this board hanging out in this little dust, you know, accessible, water accessible little container with a crappy little antenna that doesn't work very well. So on to the antennas. Antennas I opted for were these guys here. They are made in China. They are the 915 megahertz antenna with the cable. If you're working with these Meshtastic nodes in other countries, you're going to have to make sure you check what frequency you need to use. Here in the US, it is 915 megahertz, and that is what I purchased. So I got my antennas for that, but you can see it is an SMA female connector on the end, and then you have under this little red cap, you have the little connector that goes on your Meshtastic node. So, but that is the antenna option that I purchased because honestly, it works better than the little cruddy thing that I just chucked on the floor. So this is a whole lot better. All right, so I'm going to put together one of these little boards, and then we're gonna kind of look at how I built this one first, this little container. Had I to do it over again, I wouldn't have used this plano container because these things were like, I don't know, it was like $8, and I don't know that I would have, you know, drilled a hole in it like I did because it was waterproof and it's not anymore. But that's okay. You know, I could silicone around that, it should be all right. But yeah, this is my prototype for my standalone unit that will at least keep most of the dust and water, dirt out of it, and I can set it somewhere and not worry about it getting, you know, stomped on or stupid, you know, broken. Anyway, so here we go. Yeah, without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and build that board up, and we'll look at it together. All right, so we're just gonna put these, it's gonna be a quick put together, just simply because I'm gonna show you what I did with mine in order to build these little boxes. I took my handy dandy drill And I drilled a hole up in the end up here because it's already not waterproof. So I drilled a hole up here so that I can fit the wire, this end of the wire, through there in order to fit in and clip to the board. So we're gonna do that first. And we're gonna make a mess. It's gonna be great. So here we go. All right. Alrighty. So, as you can see there, I made the initial cut and then I actually kind of routed it out a little bit just simply because this is a little wider than that. And that's a 1/8 inch drill bit. So you kind of slide that in there like that. And that's all we need out of that. We're going to move our mess out of the way. Okay. And you're going to take your Meshtastic board, set it here. The battery only goes in that little spot one way. I don't know if you can see, but on the back side here, it's got a little knob on the end of it, little protrusion, and that goes down. And you can see the little wires on the top there. That is the top. Well, yeah, top enough. So you're going to run this up through there. And you're going to take your battery, make sure the little knob goes down, and fit that into there. And then you're going to click it into place, just like that. You can see the board is powering up, and there you go. You see the little LED light flashing, and you can actually even see the last message that I sent to my wife. It says, "Hello, Miriam." And this thing was powered up 17 seconds ago. You can use, let's see, this guy here, this button here to scroll through. You can actually do GPS on these as well. And I am still working on figuring out how to do that. And then you scroll through, and then there's your battery. And it gives you that there's no GPS, and it's in long mode. That is the mode of how this is working. And then it just flips back to my message that I sent. No GPS present. Okay, so anyway, so Meshtastic node is on. In order to turn that off, by the way, I've never seen a video where they showed how to turn these off. You just press and hold that button, and it'll say shutting down. And there you go, and it's shutting down. All right, very cool. I don't want to waste my battery, but you can see there, you pull the wires back through, and then you're going to get your USB-C situated there, so it's seated in that little hole there. Oh no, I can't do that yet because I still have to plug in my antenna. So the antenna is a little bit of a bear, I'm not going to lie, because this little port here where it goes onto is pretty tight. I gotta, boy, I hate putting these things on. I'm afraid I'm gonna break them. Sheesh. See that? Not fun. They make a little, like, I'm sure there's a little tool that you could use. I'm sure they make something, but why use a tool when you can break your thumbnail? Oh, geez. There we go. Now it's on there. You can see it's on. All right, so good stuff. So now we're going to get that battery cord pulled back out of there. We're going to get that lined up. Everything is good there. You see the battery port there, okay? And then I'm going to actually turn this a little bit so that it's worked up and kind of routed through there. You can take your cover, put your cover on like that. And now you can actually turn these on and off with just these buttons here. At one point I had my battery pack just kind of rubber banded onto here. But then it was like, okay, what do I do with my antenna? So that's why I opted to build one of these boxes over here, just simply because I think that it's going to be a little more stable, keep the antenna upright. So anyway, so now we have our Meshtastic node. You can just press the button and it turns it on. You can see the light comes on and the screen is powering back up. And there we go. So I have another box that I'm going to use to build another little Meshtastic node house. Now, I bought these little containers. I got 2 of them for $6 at Walmart. They are made in China, so who knows how long they'll last. Anyway, all right, so I'm gonna set this aside. Now, in order to mount the antenna to this box, I used a 1/8 inch drill bit. And I offset it a little bit to the side, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna offset to the side, and we're just gonna drill through. And that's it. So now you have your 1/8 inch hole drilled into your top, and I know that it makes it so that it's not waterproof anymore. Oh, and my goodness, I know. Really not a big deal, I don't think. So now that you have the hole in your lid, you're gonna take your SMA connector, and it's got a nut, a washer, and then like a lock ring on it. Take them all off. Run this up from the inside. I'm gonna get rid of the washer and use the lock ring. Put that on there. Take the nut, put that on top. Whoops. Give it the old spinny. And then, honestly, I'm pretty sure finger tight is good enough for what I'm doing with these crazy little nodes. And then, I'm gonna blow the dust out of my little box here. Set the battery in. Set the node in there. Take my antenna. Premature, Tim, premature. Screw the antenna on. And then snap it up. And there you go. Now you have your little Meshtastic node. I know things are loose in there. Like I said, this is just kind of early stages of Tim trying to figure out how to do these Meshtastic nodes. I think this is a good option just for, especially if it's staying inside. It's not going to be a big deal. Realistically, I could drill another hole and run a USB-C port right up through here and just plug it in and leave it by an outlet somewhere. But these are, because of the need for the radio frequencies to travel off of the antenna, it is going to need to be up high. Because, as I said in previous videos, RF, radio frequency, is line of sight. So if you have stuff in the way, it's not going to go through. All right, so we're going to try and do some tests on these. I've got 2 of these built already, and then I've got my first one that I built. So we're going to play with this a little bit, and I'm going to try and find how well these communicate and how far they go. I'm going to put one in my car and take it with my phone, and we're going to try and figure it out, see how far they'll go. So, without any further ado, here we go. Alrighty, folks, I'm in my car here, and I'm getting ready to just try and do some distance testing with these little nodes here. And it's snowing again. Didn't the groundhog say that it was supposed to be an early spring? Pretty sure first day of spring was yesterday. Hey, Punxsutawney Phil, time to brush up that resume, pal. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna turn on the node I have here in my car, and I'm gonna get it connected with the iPad that I have, which, by the way, does not have any Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. I guess it has Wi-Fi, but Wi-Fi's not on. Let's actually turn that. I'm going to show you guys. Here we go. We're going to turn it to boop, airplane mode. All right. So it is on airplane mode, and we're going to turn on. Oh gosh, let me put in my passcode. I'm going to open up the Meshtastic app. Let me bring you guys over here with me. All right. So you can see here the Meshtastic app, node, we're doing Bluetooth. There it is right there. It is connected. You can see right there it's connected. And so we're going to go to messages, and we're going to message this one right here. Whoops. We're going to, hello. Waiting to be acknowledged. Acknowledged. Okay. So it connected with that node that's in my attic. So that's a good thing. That's a good first step. So we've got it connected with the node in the attic with this node right here. So that's good. All right. So I'm going to drive a little bit, and then we're going to see how far we can travel and still do this. So yes. All right, here we go. Let's back out of here. And ladies and gentlemen, do not try to, holy Moses, I almost ran into my kid's car. Do not try to Meshtastic and drive. You will probably end up in an accident, just like I almost ended up in. So I'm gonna try to keep us on an upper elevation. And I'm also going to, we are gonna go, let's see. We're gonna go up the road here just a little bit. Alrighty, so here we are. I pulled over to the side of the road. I'm about a block and a half away from our house. And with me, and test number 2. Waiting to be acknowledged. You can see here, we're still on airplane, and it just acknowledged. So we're about a block and a half away from my house. Not a city block, mind you, but I'd say probably like, I'll bet we're 500 yards from my house. So that's pretty cool. All right, so test number 2 worked. That's good. And I'm gonna put you guys back here, and we're gonna go a little further. Let's try it right here. This is a little bit in a little bit of a gully, so I'm gonna like raise that up a little bit there if I can. Maybe I can't. I'm gonna try this here anyway, even though I don't know that it'll work. So let me give it a go here. All right, here we are. Test number 3. Waiting to be acknowledged. And it went through. Look at that. We're still in airplane mode. So test number 3 went through. That's pretty awesome. We're about just about a half a mile away. So I'm going to go a little further, see what we can do here. This could get crazy. Alrighty, we are right at the beginning of the state game lands where I hike occasionally. And we're going to give it a go here and see if this will work as well. All right, this is going to be test. Let me see. Test game lands entrance. There we go. And send. Let's see what it does. Oh my goodness. We're a full mile away from the house for sure. And it went through. You can see there it said acknowledged. And we're still on airplane mode. This is actually pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I am going to turn around. I've got an idea.
There's a buddy of mine, and we've been considering whether or not we can connect with one another. He lives on one side of a hill, I live on the other. And so we were going to put a node between us to see if we could connect with each other. And I'm going to test the top of that hill. Let's do it. One of the really cool things about Meshtastic is the fact that it can be used in a grid down situation. So let's say, you remember the cell phones went down, I don't know, what, the end of February, like the 20th, 21st, 22nd, somewhere around there. It's like right near the end of February. All like the different parts of the country, cell phone system went down. Boom, gone. And you couldn't talk to anybody. You couldn't text anybody. And that's, I mean, let's face it, if there's an emergency, that's a big problem. I mean, that could be a tremendously big problem. And this is a way around that so that you can actually continue to talk to people that you need to talk to in an emergency situation without the cell phone service. So that's pretty cool. I'm actually considering, to be honest, getting just like a track phone, Android, like a cheap Nokia or something that you can get at Dollar General, right? And there's no service. You don't have to have a contract. The phone's like $50, and use that as my device, so that then I can talk to the different nodes. I can use that phone in that way, which I think is a really great option. Personally, I think it's a great option. They make devices that you don't need a phone. It is a LoRa board, so it's got that long-range Meshtastic board, along with a keyboard and a trackball and a touch screen. It looks like the old Blackberries from back in the day. I don't remember, maybe you remember them, maybe you don't. I remember them. I never had one. I always thought they looked a little bit, well, I don't know, arrogant maybe. I don't know. All the business people had them, and they were like, very important to look at have my little mini computer here. Well, now we all have mini computers, so it's whatever. But it looks very much like that. And there's a bunch of guys that make these 3D printed cases that you can put on them. And then you don't even need a phone. You don't need a device. You don't need an iPad or whatever. And the Meshtastic app, you can literally just use that device. It's called the T-Deck. T-Deck. D-E-C-K. And from what I hear, they work really well. They're not expensive. They're like, I think through Rockland, you can get them for like, I want to say between 70 and 80 bucks. But they're always sold out. I mean, they're always sold out. It's terrible. Because they're pretty cool, right? I mean, it's a basically a little handheld communication device that's under 100 bucks. You can find them on eBay, but they're pretty expensive on eBay because people know that they're tough to get, so they're asking $100 for them. Whatever. Me personally, I think they're cool. I might get one at some point, but I'm not gonna spend $100 on it. I'm just not gonna do it. I'd rather get a little cheap Android and use that, because then you have the ability to use basically a little pocket computer and other apps and whatnot that you can use, because it's an Android phone. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on it. But they are cool devices, very cool. If you can get one for 65 bucks, 70 bucks, hey, that's cool, go for it. But I'm not spending $100 on it. I'm just not gonna do it. All right, I'm up on top of the hill here. Let's try it. Let's see if this works. I'm really curious. So hang on, let me grab my phone. Let's give this thing a go here. I'm gonna set this up a little bit off the dashboard. There we go. All right, so gonna turn this back on here. All right, and here we go. Let's see. This hill, actually just over there to the north, the hill was called Mexican Hat. So we're gonna call this the Mexican Hat test. And here we go. Waiting to be acknowledged. Oh my gosh. That worked. I'm actually really surprised that that worked. So I'm trying to think how far he is from here. This is about the halfway point. I think we could do it. That's pretty cool. Brian, if you're listening to this, this is a good option, bud. Alrighty, well, that's pretty sweet. Now I'm just gonna try and see how far I can go until I can't get it anymore. So yeah, we're gonna go back to the house and kind of measure it from there. So here we go. Okay, we are another 7/8 of a mile down the road, and we're gonna do another test here. All right, so here we go. We are, where are we? Oh, dang. Horse and buggy, kids. That's not fun in the snow. Not at all. No, thank you. All right, let's see here. Test 2+ miles. And here we go. It went through. Folks, it went through at 2 miles. All right, I got a buddy that lives up the road here. I'm gonna pull up to his house and see if we can do that there. It's gonna be about another mile or so. And we'll see what happens. All right, I am sitting outside my buddy's house here. Not the one that, not the original one that I was gonna test. I'll test him in a minute. But I'm kind of surprised he's not here. His truck is here, but anyway, he may be on the road. He works for the railroad, so who knows. All right, so here we go. We're gonna give it another test here. We're gonna call it Ian's test. No. We gotta do this right, man. Ian's test, here we go. No way. All right, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. I'm actually going to drive back and see how far it is from Ian's house to mine. I think it's like 3.5 miles. Maybe more, but I gotta see now. This is crazy. I'm pretty stoked. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty stoked. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the kind of insanity that happens in central Pennsylvania. Not the best drivers in the world. Just gonna put that, and look where they're pulling into. Come on now. I mean, Dollar General. Yeah, not the best situation here. All right, so I am at my buddy Brian's house. I'm sitting in his driveway. I hope his neighbors don't come out and like shoot me or anything. But we're gonna give this a test here while I'm here. Let's see. We'll call this one Brian's test. And here we go, kids. No way. No way. We don't even need a node between us, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. He is at least, I mean, he's, as the crow flies, he's probably 4.5 miles away from my house. And he sits down low. Like if he was up in his, like upstairs of his house, it wouldn't be a problem at all. This is nuts. Okay, I'm in our state game lands. Kind of halfway up the mountain. And I'm gonna try to see if we can connect here. I kind of tend to doubt it, just simply because there's a lot of vegetation, and that is something that does eat up radio frequencies. But we're gonna give it a go here. All right, this is gonna be game. Whoops. Land test H. All right, let's see. Oh my word. Okay. This is crazy, right? I mean, this is crazy. How can it connect? How can it do it? I'm not even at the top of the mountain. I mean, I have no words. I really have no words. I'm extremely impressed if this is indeed working as it's supposed to. I am indeed impressed. I'm gonna actually call my wife and have her, because this is the node that I'm sending it to is to her node. I'm gonna have her see if she can text back, see if we can receive one. So, yeah. There we go. Okay, I have my wife on the other side of this with the app on her phone, and she and I are going to do a little text test, and I'm still up on the mountain here. So here we are. So I'm going to do this. Let's see. Hello, Merm. No. I love you. I know, corny, but she's not feeling very good, so it's very nice of her to be helping me here. All right, so it's waiting to be acknowledged. It's acknowledged. Okay, so now we're going to see if she texts me back. And we're waiting. Hey, look at that. There it is. Love you too, babe. Woohoo, she loves me. Of course she loves me. That's the only reason why she puts up with me. Anyway, so this works. And honestly, I'm pretty stoked. I really am. Guys, I am going to continue to do some distance tests here with this, but today I'm going to call it quits. And I mean, I imagine if I got one of these into a waterproof box and had a power source that would be a continual power source, it could be, I mean, it could cover the whole town as a mesh node. I'm pretty stoked. I'm not gonna lie. I was uncertain. I got these and I was just kind of like, we'll just kind of see and give it a go. So I did, and yeah, it's just pretty cool. Really cool. And I have a feeling we're gonna need these kinds of things here in the near future. So yeah, I strongly recommend getting on there. There'll be links in the description below, so that you can check out if you want to get into this. I'll put some links down there for the different pieces. But otherwise, I say do some research on your own. There's a couple of YouTube channels that I've posted. Oh no, I haven't. I will post them in the description below. So make sure you hit up their channels as well. They have a lot of really good information about Meshtastic. So check them out, and give me a thumbs up, give me a subscribe, share the videos, share them, send them around to everybody, especially if you're into this kind of stuff, you're into radio stuff, preparedness, mindset, that kind of thing. Send these around to friends that you know that are. I'd really love to see the Meshtastic thing really take off and have it be something that people can connect with each other, because we're going to need it. We're going to need to be able to communicate with one another, because eventually cell phones are going to go kaput, internet's going to go kaput, and then how are you going to talk? All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Stay prepared.